Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is right now a sunny Wednesday. I keep thinking it's Tuesday because of the holiday, but nonetheless, we welcome all of you in.
By the way, I woke up Tuesday morning feeling that felt like a Monday.
Yeah.
I told somebody, I acting like it was Monday. It was crazy.
Yeah, it happens. So let's start out by saying hello in Murfreesboro to former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. Billy, nobody cares.
Shut up, Kelly.
I mean,
Go
nobody
play.
wants to hear all that. You know what I'm saying?
Children.
We don't care.
Go
Yeah,
play.
we don't care. I mean, dude,
Do you
play in
really-
the traffic or something. Nobody cares.
Do you really want him to play in traffic?
What was
I
that?
would.
What was that one thing you said? Go to Broadway or something like that?
Yeah,
Who knows
you
what
had
I
one.
said, man.
remember.
I say so much, man. I told you to go to Broadway and play on the street or something. I don't know. Who knows? That's what you need to do when you make comments like that. Nobody
Go to
cares.
Broadway, play on the street. Yeah.
That's lovely. So tell me what we're doing with Terry. I know they were practicing later than normal today. So
Yes, we're gonna get Terry on by phone.
okay, that'll be
so-
exciting.
Time only has been called.
Yeah, okay, we got a good show for you. This is the tarp is on the field. The rain delay is happening, even though we haven't had rain like in 45 days. Mike Organ from the Tennessean will be with us around 3:20. Then at 4:00 today, you'll hear from Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee. And then Terry will rejoin us at 4:20 for kind of a, the season starting. What can we look forward to? What can't we look forward to? All that kind of stuff. You got it, Kelly?
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
The tarp's still on the field.
I know. What are we doing, Billy?
Well, we had some sort of malfunctions to start the show, so we were.
I saw that.
We're making every effort to get this game played.
I was wondering if you were sweating a little bit because I'd have loved to have seen like your forehead beat up a little bit.
Every effort will be made to play today's game. The Braves and the Dodgers, thank you for your patience.
By the way, what have the Braves been doing?
What do you mean?
I mean, it feels like the Braves season ended 2 months ago.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It did.
I mean, it did, but
It did.
What have they been doing on the field?
Well, they've been losing. Thank you for asking. They've been scoring more runs, but their relief pitchers have just been blown to smithereens. And that's the area that they're going to have to really, in the offseason, do something. Listen, the signing of Ha-Sung Kim is a huge signing for them. This guy can play, and the fans will really get into him. In San Diego, they used to do this chant, Ha-Sung Kim. And it really, when 40,000 people do that, that's got to be pretty cool. If he's anywhere close to that player that they had in San Diego, the Braves have found a shortstop who not only can field, but also can hit. Because Nick Allen has done the very best he can. He can't hit a lick.
George, do you think Brian Snitker is still retiring? Do you feel that,
Yes.
or do you think he's coming back? You do?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he's coming back.
Okay.
And I've thought that for a good while. Okay, I'm told that Terry McCormick is ready and raring to go with our daily Titans update. Terry, how are you?
We are not hearing Terry. Still nothing? I will try to call him on my end.
Okay. Time only has been called. Boy, we're off to a rip-roaring start, aren't we?
To a rip-roaring start.
Yeah. Let's see.
I think we've got Terry on our end. Give him a shot.
Okay, Terry, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure,
Okay.
no problem.
Talk to me. Tell me what's going on today in practice as they get ready for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. Well, Titans getting ready to take on Denver, obviously, and only one player was not in the available portion of practice, or the open portion of practice, I should say, but it's a big one, and that's Dan Moore. We don't know yet what his status is. The injury report should be out hopefully within an hour. So when I come back on at 4:20, I should know what he's been diagnosed with and why he was absent. The other thing, obviously, you're looking at the depth chart, a couple of guys moved up in the depth chart. One is rookie receiver Alec Eilmanner, who's listed as a starter along with Tyler Lockett and, of course, Calvin Ridley. And then the other is Cedric Gray, who's going to get that second inside linebacker spot, edging out James Williams to start alongside Cody Barton.
So, Terry, on Eilmanner in a 3 wide receiver package, this really isn't a big surprise, is it?
Not really. I mean, I think a lot of people probably thought that it would be Van Jefferson that would get the call first, but Eilmanner showed them enough during the preseason and all that they feel comfortable with it.
Anything else in that depth chart that we ought to talk about?
No, that's pretty much it. There were, those were the only 2 surprises, or I don't even know if they were surprised. Eilmanner probably was a surprise. Gray, I think you could see him coming on toward the end of preseason, and he is now going to be your starting inside linebacker, and James Williams will probably still play some. And the other thing, already, they moved up this Jalen Armour-Davis that they claimed from the Ravens with that first waiver claim, and he is already running as a number 2 cornerback, as nosed out Marcus Harris, the rookie from Cal.
So, Terry, I know we're going to get into this in depth later, but they absolutely cannot have injuries in their defensive backfield.
No, they really can't. They've got to stay healthy, and they probably could weather it a little bit better at the safety position than the corner position, because they're really, other than Snead and Brownlee and McCreary and Darrell Baker, that's about it in terms of, proven experience. And, you still got to see what you have in the other 2 guys that they picked up, and, of course, the rookie and Harris.
Okay. Listen, appreciate it. We'll talk with you again around 4:20 and run from there.
All right. Sounds good.
Terry McCormick, his daily Titans update. He, of course, is Main Street Media and TitanInsider.com.
Now, on to our daily update. It's brought to you by Football Night in Nashville tomorrow. Out at Sports and Social in Green Hills, Cowboys, Eagles. We'll have the show 3 to 5, and I'm hearing it's going to be a packed house.
It will absolutely be a packed house.
So you better join us if you want to come watch some football. Maybe a few EAGLES
Yeah,
fans.
you might want to learn that cheer, I'm told. Now that Micah Parsons is not a Cowboy, you don't hear much about him.
No. Speaking of this Cowboys-Eagles game, we know the NFL opener regularly turns into one of the most heavily bet regular season games of the year. Tomorrow's game is no exception. By the time the last bet is placed, gambling experts estimate that millions of dollars will be on the line with U.S. sportsbooks.
Okay, stop there. Helen Keller could figure that out.
But
is that supposed to be some big breaking news?
The kicker is this is lining up to be the biggest bet game of the opening week thus far in NFL history.
Okay, which basically means that there are more of these things out there.
Yes.
And there are more people using them.
Fantasy sites, prediction markets, offshore sports books, and with local bookmakers as well.
The question inquiring minds want to know is, George, have you put a little cash on it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. Because we all know you love to, I know you're a blackjack guy, but
yeah,
you'll dabble.
Let me put it this way, Kelly. After coming on the air on vacation and booking North Carolina.
Booking. We all know when you book, it sucks.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
When
Same
have
to
you
you.
booked? When have you booked one and it's won? Like, how many years has it been?
I think it was before Joe Biden.
I think it was too.
Now that I've checked it, it was.
You stay out of this.
Okay. We've also got some college news. A pair of Vanderbilt football players are among 10 athletes suing the NCAA in an effort to force it to allow college athletes to compete for 5 seasons rather than 4. Langston Patterson, who played at CPA, and defensive lineman Issa Wataha filed a class action lawsuit yesterday, which claims the NCAA's eligibility rules violate antitrust law. The current rules allow athletes to compete for 4 seasons during a 5-year span that begins when they enroll in college. Attorney Ryan Downton, who also represented Diego Pavia in his case last year, said in a news release that the players were not aiming to completely remove any eligibility restrictions, but believe they should be able to compete in games for all 5 years that they are allowed to be on the team.
Okay, let me ask this question. Because what we've got here is a scenario where they're saying, look, there shouldn't be a red shirt. You ought to be able to play 5. So let's say that some court says, you're right. You should be able to play 5. Well, you know what's coming after that.
6.
The next
7.
one's going to come in and say 6 and 7. And then you're going to have some old man with an AARP card come in and go, why can't I play?
They're getting paid. Why can't I?
What really is going on, if we're honest about it, is that a lot of the college kids who deep down know in their heart they're not going to play on the pro level,
Yep,
are sitting there saying, this is my money grab. Okay, and look, at that age, I would have loved to have had that scenario.
all power to you.
But I thought that's why people went to college, was so that they could prepare themselves to go out into the workforce and get a job. This concept that, you've got to make all your money by the age of 23. What do you do for the next 40 years? You sit there like a vegetable?
And here's another thing that I think
I
about,
went
George,
off
and
on that one, didn't I?
I think Nick Saban said it a couple of months ago, but like, what's going to happen to the NCAA with all these lawsuits that are about to happen to them? Like, it takes money and they've got loads of it, but with all these civil lawsuits that are coming against them, how are they going to be able to defend themselves?
I don't know. And I think in the NCAA's wildest dreams, in whatever their wildest dreams were 25 years ago, when they would tell a kid, no, you can't go home for your relative's funeral. I've always believed that if the NCAA hadn't been such buttholes back then, they wouldn't be in the position they're in now. But I do wonder if even the staunchest NCAA person isn't looking around going, holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Hurley, in other news, was apparently looking around going, what am I going to do next last year? He considered stepping down from his job at UConn earlier this year. This, according to a first-person account in his forthcoming book, Never Stop, Life, Leadership, and What It Takes to Be Great. True to the title, he hasn't stopped. But after getting to the top of the college basketball world, winning a national title, he said, I thought about leaving, taking a gap year, resigning as head coach of the UConn Huskies, and apparently considering a move to the Fox Sports Desk and being a college basketball analyst.
I think what you get out of this story, and think about it, Phil Jackson was a part of this. Andy Reid's just gone through it. When you get to the 3rd year in an attempt to three-peat, the fun's over.
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 It's so pressurized. Everything you do is under a microscope, and it's hard, man. It's hard to win a championship. Now winning 2, and then you look at Andy Reid. They had the opportunity to win 3 in a row. That's never been done in the National Football League. Can you imagine? Every day, it's on your mind. Every day.
So, should it not be easier to say, I've won 2, the pressure's off?
No, not really. I would think so, but nobody's ever done it. So I think that puts a little pressure on you in the National Football League when we can be the first team. We can go down in history as being the coach, the quarterback, the team that's on this team that's the first to ever do it. So I just think that's a lot of pressure in itself, George.
Well, lastly, speaking of pressure, there's going to be pressure on Nico Iamaleava the rest of the season at UCLA. UNLV defensive back Amaris Brown was talking about Nico Iamaleava, and he came out and said in a press conference yesterday, honestly, nothing really sticks out to me on tape about him. Well, the Rebels host the Bruins on Saturday, so we're going to see.
That will be a really interesting game. UNLV's really good.
Except they can't really play defense.
No, it's not their strength, but Lord knows they can flat out score.
They can.
Okay. After the break, Mike Organ from the Tennessean is going to join us. We're going to talk about Austin Peay's win over MTSU last Saturday. What does it mean for both groups? This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank & Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank & Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Okay, we welcome all of you back on this Wednesday afternoon, and let's say hello to Mike Organ from the Tennessean. As soon as we get him up here in just a second, we'll be ready. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing very good. I'm excited to be with you guys visually this week. Finally, Billy's technology, I think, has it figured out how to get me on, I think.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Let's get to the issues of the day, Mike. Sitting in the press box at Vandy on Saturday night, all of a sudden, early in the second quarter, I'm looking at scores, and I see Austin Peay 14, MTSU nothing. And as it went along, there really was very little change, and Austin Peay won going away. You cover a lot of stuff at that level. What does that win mean for Austin Peay?
For Austin Peay, it is huge. They've just moved out of the OVC into the Atlantic Sun originally. Now they're into a new conference, the United Football Conference, which merges them with the MAC. And to get a win like that, they're the first team in that division, that conference, to make that kind of noise. First win over an FBS since I think 1987. And on top of everything else, it's against a team that used to be your arch rival that left you 25, 26 years ago because they went on to be at the big time on the next level and left you behind. And now here 25 years later, you're beating them like a drum, George. From everything I've heard, if they played that game 10 times, people think that Austin Peay would win 10 times. I think they jumped up to a 21-0 lead at one point before MTSU finally scored. And then it just kind of played out that way. The MTSU was never in the game. And it's frightening for MTSU, which now has turned around and played Wisconsin. I heard somebody on the radio say yesterday, well, Wisconsin isn't that good this year. Well, I guarantee you Wisconsin's going to be better than MTSU, and it's not going to be pretty.
So, okay, it's a great moment for the folks in Clarksville, and they should celebrate it huge. On the flip side, the Wolves are out, and they are howling in Murfreesboro. And, you know, a year ago, they came very close to not beating Tennessee Tech in their opener. This year, Austin Peay drubbed them. When you saw the yardage stats, it's embarrassing. What next?
Yeah, I mean, what is it, 26, 27 years after moving up, your program doesn't appear to be any better than it was before it left what was then 1AA, now FCS. It's frightening and it's disturbing. And you said the Wolves are out. I like Derek Mason. Everybody likes Derek Mason. He's a very likable guy. And Chris Massaro is not quick to pull the trigger, never has been throughout his long tenure as MTSU's athletic director. But I'm not sure that Derek can survive this season. I do believe that he's got the president on his side. And I think the president is in his final year. So that may help Derek make it through the season. But unless improvement is shown, and it's going to have to be a whole lot of improvement against a lot better teams than what they faced in the first game, then this might be it for Derek. It might be a 2-year tenure. And that's kind of where we've gotten with college football now, is instead you used to get 5 years, then it went to 4, 3, now it's about 2. And especially when you have the kind of results that Derek's had so far heading into this season, and then to start the season like this. So I don't know. I wish I had seen the game. I'd like to see. I know the last time I covered MTSU, they had no running game whatsoever, 0. That was under Rick Stockstone. And I asked him after the game, I said, Rick, where's your running game? He said, you're right. We need to develop a better running game. And I don't think they ever got that done. And I don't know if this team has more diverse attack or not, if it runs and throws the ball. But apparently it doesn't do either one very well to get that, let Austin Peay get up 3 scores on them.
Mike, this narrative has been out here since the hire that Sidney McPhee essentially took over the search and left Chris Massaro to basically just watch it. Was this McPhee? Is that true?
I believe it to be true. I don't know that's not been proven. It's not going to be proven. They're not going to. The president's never going to admit that, say that. Massaro's never going to say that. Derek's not going to say that. Some of the other candidates may say it if we were to, ask some of the other people who were involved. I don't remember who the candidates were. I think it was pretty cut and dry. It was going to be Derek. But yeah, that's why I said earlier, he may make it through the year because he was a presidential hire, and he has the president on his side. But this is McPhee's last year, from what I understand. So that doesn't do him any good next year, as long as Massaro's still there, no matter who's there. And I'm sure Chris will still be there. So I think it probably gets, if that's the way it went down, the way many people believe, then I think it gets Derek through this year, no matter how bad it gets. And it started off pretty bad. But then as anywhere beyond this year, the final game of this year, then I don't know where it's at.
Tennessee defensive coordinator Tim Banks was another candidate.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Banks has moved beyond. If the MTSU job was to come open after this season, I think Tim's going to have bigger offers than that.
So, Mike, aren't the stakes higher based on something you and I both saw? I know that you have toured that brand new facility. Billy and I actually broadcast from there that night, and I went to the dinner. The Reese Smith family I've always been very close with. There's whatever the number is, like 66 million that they were able to somehow put together. Pretty amazing story that they pulled that off. But doesn't that make the stakes higher that you can't have this?
Absolutely. When I toured the facility, which is state of the art, and you're not seeing it done anymore, George, because of NIL. Athletic departments are no longer in the arms races that they used to be in with each other to outdo each other with facilities. Now they're going to keep state of the art. They're going to keep up to date, but you're not going to see big, huge jumps made like this because this deal started before NIL. The fundraising did. I think Andy Womack got it off the ground. He and teamed up with Chris Massaro, and that was before NIL. So this was a deal that started before that. Things have changed now. So this is going to be one of the last where you see a big, nice place like that put up. But it still benefited MTSU, like you said. And on the tour that I was with, one of the guys on the tour, we ran into Derek at the top, Derek Mason. And when we got to the top of the facility, I don't know where, if you guys may have broadcast from the SMI concrete room, which was up the top where you could oversee the field. And one of the guys with us told Derek, said, hey, we saw some players in the locker room and we told them, you have no excuse not to produce this year. With a facility like this, the results should be better. And he did. We ran into a guy down on the in the locker room, and he told him that. And Derek agreed with him, and he said, "You're right." He goes, we can't fall back on that excuse. That's for sure, because we've got state of the art, but we won't have an opponent that will have the kind of facilities we have. So, yeah, you're right, George. And I thought about it at the time. This could work to be a detriment for them if they don't show results, because you're like, okay, we built you this nearly $70 million facility. You've got top nutrition. You've got everything you need to be successful. Why are you not successful?
Yeah. And this one of the things in the timing, and Kelly, you know this, I'm about to turn it to you, is this is early in the season, and there's nothing that stops ticket sales quicker than what went on Saturday.
Yeah, there's not, George, and it's disappointing just sitting here listening to Mike talk about it. And Mike, I'm looking at the schedule right now, and everybody was telling me, this is not a very hard schedule for Middle, but you look at it. They play Wisconsin next week. They got Nevada, which they got to go to Nevada. Then they play Marshall. They've always struggled with Marshall. I struggled with Marshall when I was there. Kennesaw State last year, they're coming along. They beat Liberty at Liberty.
And they almost beat Wake Forest on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Missouri State, who's in the Missouri Valley Conference, who's really good. Delaware, maybe. Jacksonville State. Then you got FIU, who drubbed them last year. Western Kentucky, which since we hadn't beat Western Kentucky since Methuselah was on the earth. And then you've got Sam Houston and New Mexico State. So I don't – like everybody's saying this is an easy schedule, but I don't know where it goes from here. And you can imagine the morale of those kids right now, Mike. They've got to be really down. And I heard from people were calling me, and I heard that the Austin Peay, now I think he got 70 new kids last year, but I heard that the Austin Peay team looked like an FBS school and Middle looked like an FCS school.
Kelly, it's a dynamic that we're seeing. If you know how to use this, this new transfer portal fad that's going on in the right way, you can rebuild your team in a hurry. And what Austin Peay has done, I'm like you, everything I heard, that they've got two quarterbacks. One, a local kid from here, I think he played at Independence, went to Mississippi State. It didn't work out there, so now he's at Austin Peay. He goes in and unseats the starter from Austin Peay from last year. And then when things get up a little bit, they get up whatever they were, he sits down, and last year's starter comes in, and he's just as good as the transfer. So now you've got two guys that can get it done at quarterback. And I think that you've got so many other players that just weren't getting the playing time at either FBS schools or bigger, better FCS schools that have transferred to Austin Peay, and you can get good in a hurry. And teams like MTSU are kind of in that middle part where the good players from FBS don't fall to them. They fall all the way to the FCS. The only thing that it affects teams like MTSU is their good players move on to better FBS programs. You understand what I'm saying? It's they're kind of in that land in between. They get missed coming down, and they lose them to players wanting to go up. And that's just a dynamic that is going to spell disaster for an MTSU. Now, Western Kentucky is on that same level. Western Kentucky has the statistical leader in all of football right now, their quarterback. So they're figuring it out, and other teams like that are figuring it out. But I'm afraid for MTSU, it's not worked the way it's supposed to, or not supposed to. Nothing is the way it's supposed to. But MTSU hasn't figured it out the way some other schools have. And Kelly, you mentioned three schools or three teams in particular that are opponents. Marshall will be homecoming. If that's a big loss like this, then that's going to be embarrassing. Western Kentucky, like you said, that's a rival. And this first game, from what I understand, the students finally showed up. And this is reminiscent. This is just a consistent pattern that has been at MTSU going way back to it didn't happen with Boots, but after Boots, it's happened with every coach that MTSU will win a big game and then never fails the next week they fall flat on their face. And the way it happened this year was, like George said, everybody hears about this incredible new facility that's built. Everybody gets excited because MTSU has moved up to the same level in terms of facilities with SEC schools and everyone else. Some people show up with expectations and they fall flat on their face again. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's happened so many times over the years, and it was incredible to see it just unfold again, or another replay of that.
And it's so disappointing to me. And you and George talked about that $66 million facility. And I'm going to ask you this, and I've asked you this before. And I know, because I'm an alumni. I get it. I'm an alumni. Now, it's changed so much since I was there. We were considered, hey, we were 1AA, FCS, whatever you want to call it, but we were considered one of the top teams in that level. And now it's just gotten so far out of hand. Do people care anymore here, Mike?
I'm worried about them. When the move was first made and Andy Mack beat Vanderbilt, I think people cared. I think people said, all right, now we see what's going on. They made the right move. That path has not been followed. And I'm afraid that the few people that they could have gotten, if they would have continued to beat better teams, bigger programs, has dropped off. And I don't think anybody cares at this point. Now, last week, you lose at Austin Peay, people care. People are amazed that could happen, but they're happier for Austin Peay because around here, people are kind of all, they're fans of the local teams, not anyone in particular. And to see Austin Peay win a big game like that, they like it. So it doesn't take away from anybody's passion for MTSU, which I'm afraid just doesn't exist.
Well, let me get off this subject because I'm getting depressed as we talk. It's bothering me so bad. So talk a little bit about the high school, the first 2 weeks of the high school season. Is there anybody that has surprised you team-wise, or is it kind of like you thought it was going to go already?
Well, I think we all expected Jared Curtis to be impressive this year, and boy, have we not seen it. He's exceeded even the highest expectations. I think we're going to witness something that we haven't seen around here in a long time, a quarterback from Nashville that's going to be among the best in the country, headed to Georgia, and you play against a quality foe like Innsworth and play as well as you did. He's going to be fun to watch. CPA is I think, going to be good again this year. Lipscomb, expectations had fallen off for Lipscomb coming into the season because of a lot of turnover. You go after the big name players, and when they get so good, they leave. It's kind of like what we were just talking about where college football is now. And Lipscomb, it kind of hit Lipscomb at a bad time, but I don't know. I've heard mixed reports on Lipscomb. I haven't seen them play, but they have not been as bad as I heard they might be. I'm looking forward to. I've got a game Friday night that I'm going to go to. I'm not covering it. I'm doing a special assignment for one of the players. I'm going to go to BGA and Pearl Cone. That's going to be a fun game, an interesting game.
It's funny. So am I.
Are you? Oh yeah, you would. I would.
Shocker.
You save me a seat, and I'll sit with you, George.
Come on up there.
You don't want to do that, Mike.
Why is that the case, Kelly?
He doesn't want to. Nobody wants to be associated with you, George. We just want to see you at the game, sitting on the fence, and then we'll say hi and move on.
You can't make it, George. I will be on this pregame. I will be with Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry, a former MTSU football player who became the #1 bodybuilder in the world 3 or 4 years ago, and that's who I'm going to be doing a story on. His son is an outstanding defensive back for BGA, Maximus Curry. And usually, I've tried to do this last year, but Brandon was training either in Dubai or Kuwait, and his wife told him, he said, "You're going to train stateside this year for the Olympia. You're going to see your son play." So I talked to her yesterday. She's a lovely lady. Her name is Brandy, and she's also an MTSU graduate, like Brandon. And She said, I told him you're gonna have to stay this year. So I'm gonna take advantage of that and do a story on Maxim.
I'll save you a seat.
Please do, and save two for Brandon if he decides to sit with us. Jerry Pigg, the coach at Hunter's Lane, where Brandon played, told me that he had muscles in his ears when he played for him. So that's how big he is. But I think aside from that, that's going to be a good game, George. I think I've heard Pearl Cone is good, maybe not as good as in the past, but good, and I think it's going to be a good game.
Mike, I was, like a lot of people, pleasantly surprised to see the crowd at Vandy on Saturday. I remember telling George Saturday morning, I just don't see the visitor side filling up the way Vandy would want it to look, but it did. And obviously the students showed up, and the home side was packed. And the chancellor was up in the press box, told us that it was about 90% full. The stadium was, and it looked nice. Did that surprise you at all, Mike? Because, you've seen so many years where you think it might be a sellout, but you think about who they're playing, and typically Vanderbilt crowds are upheld by the opponent's fans, but that was pretty much all black and gold.
I think Vanderbilt, Billy, has finally got to the point where other SEC teams, and not all, but many SEC teams are, that when they open the doors, people are going to come. Their fans are going to come. That game sold out a little bit before, maybe a week or two before. So I did expect a big crowd. I didn't know if it'd be packed. But I think that Vanderbilt fans are now so excited to watch one player, Pavia, that they're going to come no matter who the opponent is. And that's exciting. And that's how the other SEC teams got to where they are, is there was an element out there that you wanted to see no matter who they were playing. Tennessee's playing East Tennessee State this week. There's no reason to go except for the fact that you want to see their new quarterback. Some of the players you saw this week for them, you want to see them again. So that Vanderbilt has finally gotten up to that level, and they can thank Pavia for that, I believe.
Last thing on the Titans, I want to ask you kind of a question about the attention. I mean, the Titans are always going to get talk, and they'll have people at the games because of Cam Ward. But when's the last time you felt a Titan season with this much lack of intrigue and excitement? Because it's really just Cam Ward. Like you said with Pavia, the only hope for the Titans feels like it's Cam Ward. So have you felt a season? I mean, last year there was a lot of excitement, obviously, but with Will Levis. But because of how last season went, most people are pretty hesitant.
No, I have never felt since the Titans came here. This little, the only time would be the year that they played at Vanderbilt, and that would be the only time that I felt this little emotion, expectation, excitement, anticipation for a season. I don't hear anybody talking about it. I mean, I've been in this business a long time, so a lot of my friends are huge sports fans. In the circles I run, nobody's talking about, wow, what do we know about Denver? Is they doing any chance against Denver? Nobody even knows who they're playing the first week. So you mentioned Cam Ward, the closest thing to a you're not going to say franchise, obviously, but a star player, but he hasn't even done anything. That's the difference in he and Pavia. Pavia proved it last year, and that's why people are coming out to see Vanderbilt. Cam Ward hasn't proven it. Obviously, hasn't had the chance. He didn't do anything in the preseason but play 8 series and complete, I don't know what it was, a handful of passes. Didn't throw any interceptions, but didn't throw any touchdowns. So gave you no reason to get excited about him. The closest thing you've got to a elite player or a high-profile player is Jeffrey Simmons, who is maybe a slightly above average defensive lineman in the NFL. So you've got no star players, no star power whatsoever. You're coming off a bad season with no reason to believe that this season's going to be any better. I do think people who know football know that it all starts in the trenches and the offensive line. And the fact that they rebuilt their offensive line should give some fans reason to be excited, or at least have some kind of expectation, but your average football fan doesn't care about the offensive line, doesn't watch the offensive line. So that's not enough to get the fan base excited. Now, I personally am really excited about that because I think they've been atrocious in the offensive line, and I look forward to them being better. But do you have a running back that can take advantage of that? Do you have a quarterback? Do you have receivers? That's going to be the big question at this point.
Mike, I saw your post on social media congratulating Chris Lowe on his move to On3, and you showed a picture of when you worked with him at the Tennessean, and I had totally forgotten about that. And George, I don't know if you knew this, he's now with On3.
Yeah,
that's a good move for Chris, and I know you obviously worked with him for a while at the Tennessean.
Chris and I worked side by side for 10 years. I covered Vanderbilt while he covered Tennessee, so we were very close. Talked daily about the SEC, traveled together for certain games, bowl games. I filled in for him the week that his wife had a baby, and Tennessee was in the Fiesta Bowl playing Nebraska. So Chris is one of my closest friends in the business, and I knew I couldn't say anything at the time when he left ESPN, but I knew he was going back kind of full circle because he left us to go work for rivals. People kind of forget that. And before he went to ESPN. So now he's with Shannon Terry at On3, and I think Shannon's going to allow him to do some bigger picture stories, which is every writer's dream, to not have to do the daily grind, to not have to travel as much. ESPN was doing the smart thing and putting Chris on as much as they could, but Chris had reached a point in his career, I think, where he wanted to kind of slow down in that respect and then pick it up in the bigger picture stories. And now he's going to have the opportunity to do that. And he's, made so many great connections through the years, contacts, that he'll be able to do a good job with that, on top of the fact that he's a prolific writer.
Amen. Mike, thank you as always. We'll talk again next Wednesday.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. See you Friday night, George.
I'll be there. I'll save you a seat.
Okay.
Kelly, we will not save you a seat.
Good, because I'm not sitting by you.
Good. I don't want
Even
you
if I was in the stadium.
I don't want you anywhere near me. After the break, we'll talk a little bit about some of what came up a few minutes ago. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
the Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Okay, so Kelly, I want to kind of aim this at you. You are the MTSU alum. I can remember going back to when Jay Cutler was at Vandy, and me and Willie and Pat Sperduto did a game on television where Middle blocked a field goal late and won. I want to say the score was 17-15. Great crowd, sellout, 40,000. Terrific environment. And at that point, Middle had beaten Vandy, I want to say 3 times in a row. And now you look back 20 years later, and there appears to be a talent gap where, and this did not start with Derek Mason. This appears to have started before then. They're not getting any players.
Yeah, I know, George. I mean, it's disheartening to me. It really is. It's my alma mater. I understand things change. I totally understand things change, but I just, I don't know. It pains me because I don't think, like I had somebody tell me one time that you've got Middle Tennessee alumni people that went to school there, but they would rather tell everybody that, hey, I've given my money to UT or I've given my money somewhere else. And they may have given some money to Middle. I don't know that, but I just it's hard to go over there, and I haven't been over there in a while. I'll be honest with you, George, and just to see what's going on, and there's no enthusiasm. I said it when Stockstill was there, and I think that they had to make that move. I told you I thought that move was a long time too late. But hey, he went to a lot of bowl games. He won some games. I just don't see. That's why I keep asking Mike Organ. I just don't see the enthusiasm that's there. Like Murfreesboro has gotten so much bigger, and there's so many people here moving into the Middle Tennessee area, Davidson County, Rutherford County, Williamson County, and there's no reason that we cannot put a product out there on that field that cannot win and cannot get some excitement in our community. But Mike talked about the Tennessee Titans. Fans don't even know who they're playing. Like, you don't even know that there's a game sometimes up here in Murfreesboro. You really don't. And I hate saying this about my alma mater. I really do. But like nobody knows that there's a game going on Saturday over there. And I will say this, George, and we know this because Billy's the new age. This new age of young people that are following games, but when I played, we had Austin Peay and Tennessee Tech. Those were rivals, and we had people at the games just because that was important then. And now, like, nobody wants to watch New Mexico State. Nobody wants to watch Louisiana Tech. I mean, that's just, for me, that's honest. And I don't know. I've heard so much. I haven't been over to see the building. I've heard people talk about the building, say it's state of the art. It's one of the better ones around. It can compete with the SEC and the big schools. But just like that person said, that Mike said when he was in the building, hey, y'all have no excuse now. You got to have and you got to have a product on the field that even if you don't win games, you're still competitive. that's when I was there with Coach Donnelly, man. We had some tough dudes when I played. And even though we might not have won every game, because we had our win streak from, I think, Eastern Kentucky and Roy Kidd, which they've been a pain in my side. This, God rest Roy Kidd, but like they beat, like, I think we had 26 games in a row where we won at home. And it was unfortunate that it was my senior year that we lost that, and they got to smoke cigars out there on the big helmet. But like, there was some pride in it, man. I don't know, man. I just don't see that anymore, George. And I don't know. It pains me. It really does.
Let me end it this way. It seems like the natural comparison should be whatever Western Kentucky is, Middle should be. Do you think that's a fair comparison?
I agree. And, I know the AD up there, Todd Stewart, that I was with in Cleveland. And, I was talking to him one day, and they win a lot of championships up there, George. Every year they're winning the Conference USA. I don't know what that's called, the all-around champion, but they win a lot of championships in Western Kentucky. And it seems like it's important to them. And I know that it's important here, but we've got to make a concerted effort to step our game up. And I don't know. It's just it's hard for me being an alumni and, seeing that we got beat, like Austin Peay that's the first time since 1986 that Austin Peay has beaten us, I think. So that's, and Mike said it correctly. We aspire to be this, and we left Austin Peay behind, and now Austin Peay is that. And it seems like we've retracted a little bit. We've gone backwards.
Yeah. Okay. Hour number 1 is done. When we come back, we'll go stat of the day, and then we'll hear Billy with Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee. Terry McCormick rejoins us around 4:20 with kind of an overview of where the Titans are. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, listen, National Grandparent Day is September the 8th. So we're celebrating all month by extending a free Beehive membership to grandparents of current Beehive Club members. Now, you must currently have a Beehive Club membership already to qualify. And listen, I'm a member. I'd love for you to be a member as well. It is simply fantastic. Busy Bee, the only way to go.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is the place to draft like a pro. Reserve your fantasy football draft party and get a draft kit loaded with everything you need. A $50 kickback card for the commissioner and $5 kickback cards for every league guest. Book at twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft.
Get ready for an unforgettable night where Nashville's spirit lifts its littlest hearts. Trinetics Rock the Cradle returns September 18th at the Pinnacle at Nashville Yards, bringing a private concert by country music's Tim McGraw. Exclusive tickets available at rockthecradle.org. Every moment powers hope for newborns and mothers cared for at the Beeman Neonatal Intensive Care Unit and the Ascension St. Thomas Foundation. Get tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. This afternoon, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms popping up here throughout the day, and a high temperature that puts us in the mid to upper 80s. Overnight tonight, the rain ends in another round of storms for your Thursday.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
We got Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee coming up next. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, or Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going baseball. Junior Caminero is the 4th youngest player with 40-plus home runs in a season. Only one player in the 21st century accomplished this feat at a younger age. Can you name him?
Ooh.
Griffey Jr.
Kelly, the first one that comes to mind for me is Ronald Acuna, but I think Acuna was older than that. Fourth youngest player with 40 home runs in a season.
Billy, is it an older player?
Nope, it's a current player.
Oh, it's current. Oh, okay. There you go. That runs mine. George, you may be right.
Player. What the heck? Let's go with him. Show me Ronald Acuna.
It is Ronald Acuna.
Ah, yeah.
How about that? Nice.
It's about dadgum time.
When's the last time you guys did that?
Before Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, you already said that.
Yeah. No.
Same with Bookett.
Excuse me?
The same thing with Bookett's.
Billy, pipe down over there, Hoss.
Oh, I'm going to have some explaining to do tomorrow. There's no way Belichick will lose his debut.
Oh, he did. Going away.
Not only did he lose it, he got his butt handed to him.
I'm like you, George. He's got to be sitting over there on the sideline going, what in the flip am I doing here?
When it got to 17-7, I felt like I was sitting in the electric chair. I was out. I had the game, I had the TV out on the patio, nice evening, 7-0 Carolina. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Vandy's got Virginia Tech Saturday night in Blacksburg. First of all, ever been to Blacksburg? I have. I froze my butt off twice.
Was it 1989? That's the last time Vandy played in Blacksburg. I heard earlier today.
I want to say there's an 86.
Or is it 86? I think it was 86.
86. I've been there twice. And if I don't ever go back, my life will be complete.
Didn't Vandy lose 18-0 or something like that?
Watson looked over at me at one point. It was during like a TV timeout, and the defense is on the field, the offense is over here, and he and I are there. And he goes, "Why are we playing these people?" Anyway, Lane Stadium back then was about 53,000 and always full. Now they're up in the 70s. People who think Vandy's just going to cakewalk into Blacksburg, this is not going to be easy. That said, Vegas, which appears to know a lot more than I do, has Virginia Tech only a 1-point favorite. So there's the backdrop of our weekly Clark Lee interview presented by the good folks at Pancoast Benefits.
Coach, I want to start with last week, though. 45-3 win over Charleston Southern. What did you like after looking at the tape, and what do you think you guys should improve on the most heading into this game against Virginia Tech? Of course, a tough road atmosphere that I'm sure the guys are excited for.
Well, I felt like it was a mature performance for game one. I felt like we, defensively, I think it ended up being 7 3-and-outs that, was a great just way to start in terms of consistency and getting off the field on third down, getting the ball back to the offense, generating possession time for offense. Offensively, we were efficient. Diego was efficient. I felt like early on we moved the ball how we wanted to. Obviously we hit a little hiccup there at the 2-minute half and got a little sloppy maybe through the middle of the game. But on the whole, for game one, I felt like it was a mature performance, and now we turn the page. And truthfully, this is going to take a whole different level of performance. And so what do we need to clean up? I think we're going to have to operate in all the situations. So that 2-minute half drive that stalled out is going to be costly. Obviously, protect the ball the way we did against Charleston Southern will be critically important, to avoid the self-imposed negatives. We had a couple false starts and delay a game, but any of the pre-snap or post-whistle penalties that become just backbreakers, obviously all of those margins we need to win. And this will be an inspired Virginia Tech team we're playing against. They should feel good about their competitive performance. Obviously, their game comes down to a punt return and a post. And so they're going to be ready for us. We'll have to handle the environment the right way. This has every mark of an SEC, road game. It's going to be hostile, and it's going to be about us and how we operate within the conditions, within the environment, and execute. If we can do that, we can neutralize the environment. If we can't, obviously they have a chance to build momentum, and the game can become streaky that way. So we've spent a lot of time talking about it. We're focusing on it in prep. Saturday will be a real challenge for us, but it's one that we're excited for too.
Coach, what stands out about the changes as you look at the Virginia Tech roster and their depth chart, obviously after facing them last season, and then looking at that Sunday performance against South Carolina, what stood out about what they present to the table in that matchup specifically?
Well, they're twitchy and athletic in the defensive front. I mean, if you don't beat them to the punch, they can create some real problems. That's both in terms of their movement and also in terms of their power. I mean, I saw them, power rush a few times against what is a physical offensive line for South Carolina. And I think a lot of it has to do with how quick they get out of their stance and how quick they get on you. So their defensive front sets a tone for them. I think they're aggressive at the safety position. I see those guys really activate to the ball. And, on the whole, they were able to limit explosive plays in that game. Obviously, the quarterback run hurt them a little bit, but the one post is just, a receiver that outran coverage and got behind their post player. So, I think this is a good defense, and that's been the signature of Virginia Tech teams for certainly as long as I can remember. Offensively, they have changed their personality a little bit. There's some tactical elements that are new, a little more spread based. Obviously they're looking to feature their quarterback, who's a dynamic player who, has a really strong arm and has the ability to be on time with the shot throws when he gets one-on-one situations. I think they have really good receivers that are particularly skilled at going up and getting those contested catches. And so we got to be hyper aware of that. They're physical on the offensive line, and they're looking to establish a run game. I thought South Carolina did a good job of limiting their ability to be explosive in the run, but I know this is going to be something they look to do against us. And, we're going to need a really strong performance from our defensive line, as well as our secondary, our corners, because, the game will come down to, are we going to allow them to establish a run, and how well and how effective are they at connecting on the shots that will present one-on-ones for them on the perimeter. And if we can have an awareness to those things, and we can play physically in the run wall, inside out, outside in, I think we have a chance to be in a slugfest against this team and hopefully find the margins we need to win to come out on top.
Coach, I want to go into your happy place here, a little bit of the defensive weeds of facing an RPO attack like Virginia Tech with Kyron Drones and their running game, but also what they do with some of the tight ends and bringing them in motion. Eye discipline is something that you hear all the time from coaches. What are the challenges, not specifically just with the linebackers, but obviously with the safeties, and the defensive line also probably plays into a lot of that as well on the edges. What is that challenge with the eye discipline when you face an RPO style scheme such as Virginia Tech's and a quarterback that can run like Drones?
Yeah, it's anytime you're dealing with this kind of offense, you have to defend all 11 players on the field. So your eye discipline is about what is the part of that 11 that you're responsible for? How are you seeing what you need to see? And sometimes that's a man coverage principle. Sometimes you're in a zone coverage principle where you may be in between two responsibilities, and your discipline becomes playing through your progression that way. So they do a lot moving the tight end around. That'll create some changes for us in terms of our structure post snap at times. We have to be skilled at that. I think, there's some free yardage when you're not tracking that tight end. So if you don't fall back with them or get them covered up on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, it's not hard to flip the ball to the tight end in the flat. And when he's uncovered, that can become a 12 to 20 yard play, which is not what you want. So we talk about playing within structure. We talk about, again, how we're leveraging the field and zone coverage, and how we have eye discipline on the guys we need to see. And if you don't play with that awareness, play with that structure, you're going to play unleveraged, and you're going to leave yourself exposed to quick strikes in space. And I think the space part of it is probably the most challenging, because when you're wrong with your eyes and they can get, the number of catch and run plays they had against South Carolina, where, almost as effective as those one-on-one shots were these quick throws that when not leveraged properly can run out for big gains. That's where we need to have our discipline and our structure in place to limit their ability to get yards and chunks. Certainly keep the ball in front of us, down our mistakes, force this offense to go the long, hard way. And hopefully if we can do that without allowing them to establish a run, now we can find those high leverage second downs that become high leverage third downs, which get our defense off the field. If we can't, if we're letting that ball in space, they're going to be able to move in chunks, and eventually it gets behind us. And that's when that crowd also becomes a factor, because momentum can feel like a tidal wave in those moments. And part of the challenge is if we take on water that way, we have to, we have to get our cleats back in the ground and reset ourselves, because eventually, no matter where you play, the game does come down to the execution on the field. It's, there's 70,000 people there, but only 22 are on the field at one time. So, as best we can, if we can focus on that part of the game, we have a chance to impact the environment. That's where we have a chance to steal a win on the road.
Last thing here, speaking of the environment, Coach, you stole a little bit of my next question here. The fans will talk about Enter Sandman and Lane Stadium at night and everything that comes with the environment, but I'm sure you and your staff are focused obviously on execution. How do you balance enjoying the moment, enjoying the atmosphere, and embracing that with maintaining your focus on the field and the 11 players that you're facing?
Well, we talk about the environment. I asked the team on Tuesday. It's like, these arenas we get to play in. It's just so fun and so exciting. And obviously, no matter where we play, home or away, the ultimate joy is in finding a win. So I believe every game is a set of memories. It's like you take these pictures that live in your mind forever, and our players are the same way that way. We'll remember what it feels like to take the field Saturday night. We'll remember what it feels like to play in a great environment against a good team. But what we want to remember and what we want to celebrate most is the ability to celebrate after the game, a big win, a road win. And so if that's what we want, if that's the ultimate goal, if the mission is winning, then we understand that independent of the environment, winning is going to be found between the white lines for 4 quarters or more in focus and execution. And so for as much as you want to embrace the environment, and, we've listened to Enter Sandman probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 times so far this week. We'll be prepared for that song, and it'll trigger within us this feeling of focus and preparation and execution that hopefully we can take it and make it our own. But ultimately, we understand that the real joy and the real memory is in the celebrations after the game. To get to that point, we have to execute again between the lines, and that's what a mature team does on the road.
That's Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee. The Commodores travel to Blacksburg to face Virginia Tech Saturday night, 6:30 on the ACC Network. Coach, good luck this weekend, and thanks again for the time.
Thanks, Billy.
Okay, the weekly Clark Lee interview presented by the good folks at Pancoast Benefits. So, Kelly, a year ago, he was able to get 5 really good wins. Home against Virginia Tech, home against Alabama, at Auburn, at Kentucky, and a bowl win against Georgia Tech. So they should have some level of confidence going in that, look, in the Diego Pavia era, they have done pretty doggone well. They've gone to some rough places and lived to tell about it. Do you think they live to tell about it Saturday?
I don't know. I want to know one thing, and I'm going to answer the question. But Billy, do you stay up at night before you have the Clark Lee interview every night? And are you like anxious about that? Are you like ready to go? I mean, do you like, let's go?
Well, I usually go to the Tuesday press conference, and I'm like, whatever isn't asked, it's a good time to have it because, all right, I'm gonna save up some questions if nobody asks them, I'm gonna ask them on Wednesday, so it's a perfect time to have it.
I don't, George. Yeah, they got some really good wins. I think they surprised Virginia Tech. They obviously surprised Alabama last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. And I don't think I saw it the other night when I was watching the game that Virginia Tech was playing. I mean, they're I think they're better. And they've got athletic dudes. They've got guys that can run. Their quarterback has got to play better. He can't turn the ball over. But you talk about Blacksburg, and you and I talked about it today when we were on the phone, but like that's a tough place to play. You've been there. I haven't. I've had some teammates to play there. It's a pretty awesome place to play.
Yeah.
And I promise you this, they're not overlooking Vanderbilt this year. I don't know if they live to tell about it. I know that it's only a 1-point game, but I do say this. I've grown to really trust in Diego Pavia, and he elevates those guys' levels to play better. He really does. I mean, and that's what a quarterback's supposed to do. Like they believe in him, and if the defense can hold them, and at the end of the game, they may be down or it may be close, but that's when you start building confidence in a guy that's behind center, and that's when you say it doesn't matter where we are, we're going to win the game because we got Pavia. And if they keep it close, they got a shot. But they're not going to sneak up on anybody, especially Virginia Tech this weekend.
Last year they were 4-0 against the spread as road underdogs. So they've done that. They've done this before where they've gone on the road. They went to Lexington. I was at that game. I couldn't believe that. They went to Lexington and shut out that offense. Pavia did his thing. To me, what I'm interested in is how they handle the environment in Blacksburg. Because Vandy, and somebody mentioned in the chat, Vandy's 0-4 in Blacksburg in their history. Does that start to creep in? You hear Enter Sandman, and Clark talked about how that they've played it all week. That should trigger something in the players' minds of a level of focus because they've heard it 1,000 different times.
If I'm a player, I'm asking him, shut that thing off.
Well, Kelly, have you had that where you listen to something throughout the week, whether it's, the tomahawk chop or what, like, can that trigger a feeling in your mind of, hey, I've heard this all week. Let's go kick their butt now.
I could handle the chop.
I guess it could, but I didn't care about that. Like, let's just go out and practice and do the best we can, work on our fundamentals, I didn't worry about. So it's going to be loud every place you go, especially when you're in these big time programs and like a song, like we used to play that coming out. We used to play some AC/DC stuff coming out when we were in Indianapolis, and I don't know. I mean, I guess, Hell's Bells, like I guess it gets you going, but like just like give me the ball and let me go play. That's kind of the way I think.
Give me the ball and let me go play.
But you've got to
That's right.
You have to have a player like Pavia under center if you want to have any prayer of going to Blacksburg. That's what Vandy hasn't had. And you make a good point of he is the reason, and he's going to be the reason if they win on Saturday. The defense is better too. I'll be interested to see, because Virginia Tech didn't score a touchdown against South Carolina. I don't know if you were watching early, George, or if you had it on, Kelly.
I watched the whole game.
Drones threw an awful interception in that first quarter.
Yeah.
They were driving. They're in the red zone. They're about to score. So he could also lose this game. He's a little bit of a turnover machine. He threw a tipped interception against Vandy last year too. So if Vandy's defense can force some turnovers on him, that'll help him too.
6:30 Saturday night, ACC Network.
And guess who's on the call?
Young Wesley Durham.
Yes, he is.
Is he really?
That fired me up because a lot of these, SEC Network, and no, I'm not ripping any, but it's a lesser. But West Durham is top notch. and he was a former play-by-play voice at Vandy. So
Where do the Falcons play Sunday?
that's a good question.
They'll get him there. Don't worry about it.
Excuse me?
I said, he's a play-by-play guy for the Falcons too, right? Yeah,
Oh,
they'll
he's
get him
had a
there.
couple- Hey, he's had a couple that have gotten hairy.
Yeah, they're in Atlanta to play the Buccaneers. So
I wonder.
at noon.
I've got to believe that's a 5 a.m. flight from somewhere to somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, after the break, we got a pro football team to talk about, the Tennessee Titans. They open Sunday in Denver. We've got Terry McCormick in the On Deck Circle to talk a bunch of Titans. Maybe take a few of your phone calls late. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today. PancoastBenefits.com or call them at 615-292-3400. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. We welcome all of you back on this Wednesday afternoon. The Titans open Sunday in Denver against the Broncos. We have asked Terry McCormick to rejoin us and go a little bit longer on what is or isn't going on in Titans land. Terry, thank you for doing this again.
Thanks, George. Appreciate you having me.
What thing should a fan be excited about right now about the Titans in your estimation?
Well, I think there are two things that are obvious. One is the initial excitement that there's going to be around Cam Ward and his NFL debut. anytime you're breaking in a brand new quarterback, and especially one who's the first overall pick in the draft, there's that excitement that this could be the guy and that sort of thing. And then the second thing is, at least where the offensive line is concerned, I think they have put a little bit better supporting cast around him than they did around Will Levis or even the end of Ryan Tannehill's tenure.
When you say that, how much more confident do you feel about Cam Ward than you did Will Levis?
Well, from what I had seen of Levis in the preseason, I actually thought that he was going to figure it out and was going to be okay. But he was just so inconsistent. He would have good moments and then follow it up with a bad moment, and some of the bad moments ended up as social media memes and things like that. Initially, I had some hope, that Levis could turn into what they've needed at quarterback, but obviously that didn't pan out. I think Cam Ward kind of has that quiet confidence around him that you need. Now to me, the thing is this: can the Titans not ruin him? Is he confident enough, and can they put enough pieces around him that in time he figures it out? I think he has the mental makeup and the type of approach that you want in a starting quarterback. But, it all remains to be seen if the Titans are going to maximize his chance to do that by, putting him in situations where he can succeed.
Terry, as an aside, where is Will Levis?
Well, he had the shoulder surgery, and the word was that he was going to stay out in California, I think, where he had the surgery, and begin to do his rehab work there at some point before he returned to Nashville. So he's still on the roster. He still has a locker inside the locker room, but I wouldn't look for him around St. Thomas Sports Park probably for several months.
Oh, Terry, let me ask this. Is that helpful to Cam Ward that he's not having to deal with the distraction of a poor game and, hey, here's Will Levis in the on-deck circle? Is that a benefit that maybe none of us saw coming?
Yeah, I think it probably is. I think from the demeanor that I've seen Cam show, I don't think he would be overly bothered by it. But then, of course, we've not seen him in adverse conditions yet either. So you don't really know. You can't really say definitively until, he goes through something like that. But yeah, in a way, I think it's got to be, beneficial to him in a way, because there's not, to put it in just, generic, relational terms, it's not the old girlfriend sticking around while the new girlfriend's getting comfortable.
Okay, Terry, sounding like Dr. Ruth there for a minute. Anybody remember Dr. Ruth?
Absolutely.
So
Billy, look it up. Google it, Billy.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, you do that. Terry, what are your biggest concerns about where they're headed?
I think my biggest concerns are the fact that the defense doesn't, outside of Jeffrey Simmons, doesn't really have a lot of playmakers that you can count on. The edge rushing group is very suspect right now. They're kind of, a bunch of guys who maybe get 5 to 6, 7 sacks, and they're hoping that collectively putting those guys together will be enough. But I don't know that it will be when you don't have somebody in there that opposing offensive coordinators are going to specifically game plan against. And then the other thing is with, other than the defense, I wonder that beyond Calvin Ridley, do they have enough weapons to get the best out of Cam Ward here early in his career?
Okay, and if we're being honest about it, Calvin Ridley is a number one by default. I don't think people around the league have looked at him over the years and said, man, there's a number one. It's been more 1B or 2A, but not a real number one. So let me ask this. Behind him is another one of these veterans, and this kind of thing has not worked out well for the Titans in the past. Does Tyler Lockett have anything left in the gas tank?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think they're hopeful that he does. I think, he's a solid pro. He's a guy that, knows what to do, but you wonder, if Father Time is starting to catch up with him the way it has so many guys that have been brought here by the Titans over the years in the twilight of their career. Other than one good year from DeAndre Hopkins, that strategy's never really worked out for this franchise. If they could get 50 to 60 catches from Tyler Lockett and he could give them 700 to 800 yards, I think they would take that all day long. The question is, can he deliver that much?
So off what you've seen, you're not all that sure right now one way or the other.
No, I mean, and we really didn't see a whole lot of Tyler Lockett in the preseason. In the joint practices, I'll be honest, I didn't really see him stand out a whole lot. I think it was more, because I think they were trying to break in the Alec Eilmanners and the Chimere Dikes of the world and trying to get those guys. But I think Tyler Lockett is one of those guys that could be a nice little safety valve for him because generally, young quarterbacks like to have a security blanket, and that's usually a slot receiver or a tight end. So, it'll be interesting to see, who develops that rapport outside of Ridley with Cam Ward.
So let me try it this way. If Cam Ward does get hurt, God forbid, do you have any confidence in Brandon Allen, or is this a little bit more of the young guy a few years ago from Toledo, Whiteside?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Allen kind of is what he is. Same for Trevor Siemian. They're journeyman guys who've been mostly backups in their careers, made a spot start or two here and there. Biggest thing is, you need to keep Cam Ward healthy. I think that's probably the one area where Will Levis on this roster could have come into play, if something were to happen to Cam and he were to miss some time. Now, Brandon Allen and Trevor Siemian are both very familiar with Brian Callahan's system. They know what to do, but as backup quarterbacks, you wonder if they're going to be able to execute consistently the way that this offense needs to run.
Okay, Billy asked Mike Organ a question earlier that I kind of want to pose to you because I think Billy's on the right track on this. Given that they had the worst record in the league and there's very little belief that, this is headed immediately in the right direction where this is one of the real pleasant surprises in the league this year. Terry, is there any buzz about this team at all?
Not nationally. Locally, there's probably some, and it's probably 95% the fact that Cam Ward is in town and that he is the new starting quarterback. I think, the message that you get from Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker preaching some patience, I think, is starting to sink in with the fan base that, this team, while there could be some improvements this year, it might not necessarily translate to making a jump from 3-14 to 8-9. It could, but I don't think they're banking on that. I think it goes beyond wins and losses. I think you want to see that the product on the field is getting better than what we've seen the last 2 years.
Okay, while they're preaching patience, you got a head coach who feels like he's twisting a little bit in the wind. Is that patience going to be shown to him, or if he's 2-7 at the break, are they going to show him the door?
Well, that's a good question. I think that that's one that really only one person can answer. And I think that one person who can answer that never speaks in the media anymore since the team's hit the skids, and that's the owner, Amy Adams Strunk. I mean, everybody's kind of made it like a punchline, but if Mike Vrabel comes in here and his New England Patriots put a beat down on this team, you never know what she might do. She fired John Robinson on an impulse. She fired Vrabel and she fired Rand Carthon, after what didn't appear to be a whole lot of deliberation.
Okay, after the break, Kelly, you and Billy will take over with Terry McCormick, 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't. Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
I ain't got much to lose, 'cause I've seen better days. I've been scarred on this place.
Let me bring Kelly Holcomb into the discussion as we welcome all of you back. Terry McCormick, TitanInsider.com from Main Street Media joining us. Kelly, if you're Cam Ward, is the right move to have a strong backup who has proven some stuff in the league, or a guy that, in Brandon Allen's case, nothing more than a journeyman?
Yeah, as a starting quarterback, George, you don't really think about that. You just think about and you have a rapport with those guys after you're in the meetings with them, but you don't think about that. I'm with you. I think that the way that the Titans are right now, if Cam Ward goes down, like, he's kind of a playmaker, but if he goes down and something happens to him, which I hope doesn't, and they're hoping that as well, but I don't know if Brandon Allen can. It remains to be seen. Obviously, the coach has some some rapport with him, some familiarity with him. He likes him, but I just don't know with what the Titans need that he can make the plays, because I don't know how good they're going to be on defense. I think Denard Wilson's probably going to have to do some different things. I love it because he's kind of a riverboat gambler, and I love defensive coordinators like that. They've got to bring pressure, and sometimes if you don't have the guys up front, as Terry just talked about, you've got to have some blitzes. You've got to have some dogs by backers. You've got to have some blitzes by the secondary guys to try to get pressure and get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. But I'm just not sure Brandon Allen is that guy to kind of lead a team. I know he can lead a team, and I know he's not going to probably lose a game for you, but can he win a game? There's a difference between those two things, and I'm not sure I'm not sure he can do that.
Terry, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical myself. It's one of those things where, some guys are just backups. They are what they are. They can get you through a game or two, but if you have to rely on them for more than that, then it's probably not going to end well. To be honest with you, George, I mean, you look around the league and there probably aren't 32 quality starting quarterbacks in the league. If they did, everybody would be a playoff contender. But, those guys who are numbered 33 through 64, certainly most of them are not starting caliber guys.
And George, I will say this. I mean, that was kind of the book on me. That was what everybody thought about me. Well, he's just until I went in there and I showed people that I could actually win games and I could do that. Now, we didn't have a very good supporting cast around us, but I could go in and win games. And I'm just not sure. You just have to see, and different situations are different. So I don't know, but I'm kind of like you. I'm just not sure, but I don't know if they, Trevor Siemian too, and that's a question I'm going to ask, and I'm going to put this to Terry right here. Let me ask you how this works, Terry, because I'm not sure. Now, every day, now they've got these guys on the practice squad, and when I was playing, you could only spend 2 seasons on the practice squad. Now you can have 10-year veterans on the practice squad, which is kind of crazy to me. But Trevor Siemian's obviously going to be on the practice squad. Does he travel to the games? Obviously, I guess he does. Is he dressed out on the sideline? And if something happens, like you never really see this, but if something happened to Cam Ward and Brandon Allen, how does that work with a third string guy? Like, I'm sure, like, does he have to sign papers? Like every time when I was first getting into the league and they took me off practice squad, I had to go sign papers. Like, how does all this work?
Well, practice squad guys can be called up, but they have to be declared at least 24 hours before kickoff, I believe it is. They can be called up just for the game. So Trevor Siemian can be called up and used if he's declared, one of their 2 guys that they can call up for the game. A lot of people think that as an insurance policy that Corey Levin's probably going to get a call up Sunday in Denver. The way that works is, it's optional. A lot of times most practice squad guys don't travel with the team. But given Trevor Siemian's knowledge of the game, he could be there on Sunday and make the trip and not be dressed out, but be kind of an additional resource on the sideline for Cam Ward if the Titans so choose to do that. Unless he's called up, either promoted to the 53-man active roster before game day, or he's one of the 2 call-ups from the practice squad for that game, he cannot dress out and he cannot enter the game. My guess is that the emergency quarterback would probably be Johnny Hecker, the punter, who kind of has a history of being a guy who's thrown a lot of fake punts and passes and things like that. But if they got down into that situation, 1, it would be pretty bleak, and 2, you'd see a whole lot of handoffs to Tony.
Did I just hear that Johnny Hecker would be an emergency quarterback?
That's how they do it.
Probably.
That's how they do it nowadays.
Probably.
And Craig Hendrick would be the 4th.
And then Billy Volek.
Yes.
So
last year Nick Westbrook-Akine was the emergency quarterback.
That's I don't understand this stuff, but okay. So we talked a little bit about the offensive line, and I've talked on the show many times that it seems like the past decade, 2 decades, it's since Jeff Fisher was the coach there, it's been a while, that they had a really good offensive line. They had the Bruce Matthews, they had the Zach Pillars, they had the they had all those guys. Do you think this collective group of guys, I think, is a really good upgrade right now? And Mike Organ even talked about it. He was real interested about what they do in the trenches. But do you think that this upgrade, if these guys can mesh together, do you think that it can be a close resemblance to some of those offensive lines of the past?
Maybe in time. I mean, some of these guys, still have to prove themselves. Like Lloyd Cushenberry's coming off an injury. You want to make sure that he's good. Zeitler's got a little age on him. They brought him in from the Lions, but he's been a good player over the years. And then Dan Moore is probably the biggest question mark of the group, simply for the fact that, he's coming in from the Steelers on a big contract, but he should give them better left tackle play than what they've had over the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know that how good this group will be, but probably going to be the best line that they've had since the one of about 4 years ago that had Roger Saffold, Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, and then a couple of guys on the right side. I think Dennis Kelly and trying to remember the right guard. That's been a while.
So, Terry, my last question here, because I know Billy's chomping at the bit to ask you a couple, but is there some upgrades that you don't think that they actually made? Like they had the first pick of the of getting guys off the waiver wire, and if there was a position or a group that you looked at that needed upgraded now, what would it be?
Well, I think they upgraded the cornerback room off the waiver wire, picking up Jalen Armour-Davis and Samuel Womack. I think that helped them a little bit. Right now, I think they'd have to be looking at any edge rusher that came free that popped on the waiver wire while they still had that first claim. I think they would probably, be looking for anybody that could provide some good special teams help and be depth along that, almost at any position, because that's where this team is really thin. They can field a halfway decent starting unit at most positions, but at the depth-wise is where they lack, I think.
Hey, Terry, does the waiver wire that the Titans are at the top of, does that go through to the regular season?
Yes. They reshuffle after 3 games. So if the Titans, if they happen to win a game or two, then they would fall in the waiver claim priority, and whoever is based on the formula that they have after 3 games would move to the top. And then I believe it changes every week depending on who wins and loses. So, the top waiver priority can change throughout the course of the year pretty often after those first 3 games.
That's top info of the day right there.
I
didn't know that.
I did not know that.
That's interesting. Terry, the Broncos defense led the league with 63 sacks, 134 quarterback hits last year. I can't wait to see what this offensive line looks like. And obviously Cam Ward, we've beaten that horse to death about what he's going to look like this year. But the offensive line, are they ready to play in that environment and protect Cam Ward to a somewhat cohesive level?
Well, I mean, that's the big question. I think, there were, Peter Skoronski, who were just kind of chit-chatting in the locker room. He wasn't really on the record, but he said he would rather play Denver now as opposed to later in the year, even though it's going to be a big, big challenge, which kind of surprised me a little bit because I would have thought that you would want your offensive line to get 3 or 4 games under its belt before you play a team that's going to be as pressure happy as the Broncos are. So it's going to be a tall order for them. And that's, probably, other than watching Cam Ward and what he does, that's going to be probably the most interesting aspect of this game on Sunday, is just seeing how well does this line gel and how quickly, and how do they respond to any pressure that's going to come from all different kinds of angles, not just from the defense in front, but off the edges and maybe blitzes from nickelbacks and safeties and linebackers and what have you.
T'Vondre Sweat coming off the tonsillectomy. that he just had. And obviously we've heard about some slight troubles with breathing, and that's not a fun experience if for him, if he were to go out to Denver and try to play in that. Is there any chance he goes on Sunday, Terry?
Yeah, I think that's the plan for him to play. But, he said it wouldn't be a problem when I talked to him Monday, but I got to think he might be on a pitch count. I got to think that, he's going to play as much as he can. But, if he starts getting winded up there in that altitude, especially having not practiced, there for that 2.5 week stint, that they're going to have to get a fresh body in there. And that may be where Shy Tuttle comes into the mix.
The Bears game last year, that was the season opener, home opener, correct?
Yes, it was. It was not a home opener.
No, it was
the season opener.
It was at the spaceship.
The Jets was the home opener.
Okay,
yes.
that spaceship game against the Bears was obviously ugly, and you saw mistakes from Levis. You saw a little bit of a deer in the headlights look from Brian Callahan, and it's hard to tell sometimes with coaches, but by just looking at them on the sideline. But is there anything in particular you're looking for out of Brian Callahan? I know you'll be at the game, Terry, but sometimes it's easier to see when you're watching on TV in terms of the facial expressions and such. Is there anything you're looking from Brian Callahan on Sunday specifically?
I just want to see him take command of the play calling and, be, confident and even keeled and things like that, because I think, as this thing went south last year, I think he kind of got to where he was almost like at a loss, for what to do at times. And that's certainly understandable for a rookie head coach who had a very young staff and a very young quarterback. But, I think you want to see that Brian Callahan has grown into his role the same way some of these other young players that are now in their second and third seasons are growing into theirs, if that makes sense.
Terry, I meant to ask you this earlier, and this is my last thing. This is probably a stupid question, but have they said anything? Because this is a real deal out there, the altitude. I remember going out there and playing, and when we went through pregame warm-ups, I was tired. I was like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? Then I got my second win. But has Brian Callahan or anything said anything about the altitude and what they were doing to kind of implement or get ready for it?
He said that, part of what they did conditioning wise was they did a lot of practicing in the heat. In those 95-degree days, they would go out practice in full pads, things like that, to try and, I know it's not the same, but to try and make sure that they were in as good a condition, tip-top condition, to be able to go out there and handle that, because it's not going to be 90 degrees out there, but it's probably going to be 75 in the thin air.
Okay, Terry, safe travels out there. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll get the Daily Titans update again tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks.
After the break, we'll have Plaster Bet of the Day, and I think it's fair to say we need a win.
This is bad.
And we need it now. And you pipe down. This is 90.
Safe to say you suck, George.
At Electronic Express, we're making it easy to save big this Labor Day with up to 40% off TVs, computers, appliances, mattresses, and everything you need for outdoor entertaining. For a limited time, when you buy 2 or more qualifying LG appliances, you'll get a free 65-inch smart TV. Plus, shopping local comes with perks like free delivery and up to 24 months of interest-free financing. Visit us in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. We've got that.
Ponzi Law is the only injury law firm with the Crash Cam Network, capturing accident footage on highways across Middle Tennessee. Injured in an accident? Call Ponzi Law. We offer a no-fee guarantee, and for over 30 years, we've been helping injured people just like you. We've been voted best law firm multiple times. I'm Michael Ponzi. If you've been injured, call us today at 615-244-4321. Ponzi Law, justice for all.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics welcomes Dr. Jennifer O'Donnell to our team of award-winning physicians. Dr. O'Donnell, whose work has been featured in prominent medical journals, specializes in treating the spine, including lumbar stenosis, disc herniations, and more. She is now seeing patients at our Lebanon, Smyrna, Stonecrest, and Nashville Centennial locations. Learn more and schedule your appointment today at tn.houston.com. That's tn.hughston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when expertise matters.
Macero in 12 South isn't just another Tex-Mex joint. It's a whole experience. Bold flavors, handcrafted cocktails, a space that's equal parts cool, comfortable, and totally unexpected. From the second you walk in, the vibe just hits different. Every dish tells a story. Every visit feels like coming home, just with way better queso. Perfect for date night, catching up with friends, or flying solo with a margarita in hand. Macero. Enjoy the space, enjoy the food, enjoy each other.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. This afternoon, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms popping up here throughout the day, and a high temperature that puts us in the mid to upper 80s. Overnight tonight, the rain ends in another round of storms for your Thursday.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Wednesday. One more day, we'll get to say football night for 5 days straight once again. So get excited for that. Time for Bet of the Day, though, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look at what has happened with George.
Yeah, you can ram it. Okay. What is going on here is that the two of you have piled on in my time of need, in a time where, yes, we're going through a tough phase, but it's the way you all have jumped on it like absolute sharks that is so shocking.
Why don't you book another one today, George? Let's see how that works out for you.
Why don't you, go walk down Broadway with Billy? Okay, here's what we're going with. We're taking the Brew Crew, Pogie's team, Milwaukee, slight favorite at home against the Phillies, and God knows I need a win. Tomorrow, our show will originate from Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. I'll tell you up front, it's going to be a big crowd tomorrow night for EAGLES against the Dallas Cowboys, minus Micah Parsons. Danny Evans will join us during the 4 o'clock hour. Underdog picks at 4. And then a lot of good football talk and a great environment. If you're coming out tomorrow night, you might want to get there early.
See you there, Kelly.
I've already talked to George. Ask him.
Oh, come on.
Yes, I'm aware. You stay out.
Yeah.
We're done. We're done, but tomorrow will be fun. If you're thinking about coming out to Sports and Social, get there early. It's going to be a big old crowd. See you then.